welcome to Reviewing History, your movie history comedy podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, and I'm joined here by
Stephen Badagliaco
and Ancelotti. Hi, guys.
So, quick disclaimer, we are not experts on history, but we do know a fair amount of shit, and we're here to have a good time and talk about the history of some favorite movies. So
we're going to keep it light.
Yeah.
It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to start off with a nice lighthearted romp called Gladiator.
Second episode, and again, we're featuring an Australian stud.
He really was a stud in this film.
He was. He's a hunk.
Yeah.
You're obviously talking about Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I like my lips cleft.
Like your palates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, his brother was, this is all alleged, by the way, his brother was murdered by John Frusciante of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, they say that's how River Phoenix died?
River Phoenix died of a heroin overdose, and it's because John Frusciante gave him the heroin. This is all allegedly. This is a story I heard.
Was it like a bad batch, or did you just overdose?
I think he had been doing heroin, and he stopped, and then he was offered it, and he was like, nah, I don't want it. I quit. He's like, okay, here's some coke, but then it wasn't coke, it was heroin.
Oh, yeah. The old Pulp Fiction, huh?
Yeah, gave him the old Uma Thurman.
So obviously the hunk you're referring to in this one is
Big Col.
none other than Russell Crowe.
Oh, I always confuse him with Colin Farrell every time.
Well,
I can't get that
They're
straight.
interchangeable, I would assume.
Colin Farrell's Irish, right?
He is
Yeah,
Irish,
yeah.
yes. One thing about Russell Crowe's looks, I do have to note that I, after seeing this movie, got the Gladiator Russell Crowe haircut.
Did you?
As a child, yes.
Oh, really?
It was kind of popular for a little bit in the early 2000s, like around 99, 2000 when this came out,
The
2001. The Caesar, yes. It had a
Remember that.
comeback.
Yeah, I think I had it too. But
From, the first century BC.
yeah.
Yes.
The thing is,
Everything's cyclical, even if it's thousands and thousands of years.
he also had a very beard, like well trimmed and maintained beard.
Yes.
And I wonder, when you look back at history, was it that easy to maintain your beard around that time?
Well, shaving, I would imagine, was quite difficult. Mirrors hard to come by.
Yeah.
You have to look in some water, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and now a word from our first sponsor, Dollar Shave. If you want to shave, no sponsors yet.
Yeah, the Romans not known for the beards until later on, and this movie takes place, kind of midway through the imperial period.
But they were all about being clean shaven anyway, though. No.
In the Republican era, and then beards kind of caught on, like Marcus Aurelius.
Well, we're
who was in
talking
the
about
beginning of the movie.
in the military because he was a general.
I'm just talking Romans in general.
Romans, okay.
Yeah, they were very big on keeping things short and clean. Like the Gauls in Gaul, when Caesar was conquering the Gauls, they actually denoted how civilized certain tribes within the Gallic region were based on how long their hair was. Like if you had the short hair Gauls, and they were the ones that were kind of closest to the Romans, and then the further north you went, the more barbarian they got, and they had long hair and mustaches and were fucking
And
wacky.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why most military shave their head is because the Roman way of shaving their head, so your enemy doesn't grab your hair and stab you.
That's
that
as good a
something-
theory as I've ever heard. I really don't know.
I could be
I
wrong
wish I
on
did.
that. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty
But if
sure
you-
that's where it came from.
There's plenty of instances
It's
of
under debate.
militaries with long hair throughout time. Look at the colonial period.
Well,
Everybody's got long hair.
Your helmet doesn't fit as well when you have longer
That too.
hair.
Yeah.
you know?
True.
It's-
That too, yeah.
It's going to be harder to see.
But then
Sweating
again, the
more.
Vikings pulled it off, right?
That's true. They
Yeah,
did.
how big of an empire do they have?
Depends on the guy. Some of them did. Harold Hardrada.
All right, so
Anyway.
you guys want to dive right into the movie?
Let's talk about Gladiator.
Okay.
Fan favorite. Everybody loves this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we
Probably
hold on,
the top 10 ever
before
made.
we just start talking about it, I just want to know everybody's kind of background with this. How do you feel about this movie, Brian?
I saw this movie in probably year 2000 in theaters.
When it came out.
And I have loved it
Ever since.
Ever since. It is a
You've seen this a million times?
It's a top 10 favorite. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but it is always in my top 10 perennially.
I'm a little different.
Really?
I saw it not when it came out, on DVD years later, and I've only seen it a handful of times, surprisingly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that's
It's
just-
great. It's awesome, but it's just it was never one of my favorites.
Do you think it's because you're a little younger and that's why you didn't see it at that right moment?
I'm slightly younger than
Well,
you,
that's what I
but-
mean. It's like 2-3 years.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I definitely didn't see it in theaters. So, yeah, maybe.
I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I had the DVD, and me and Brian would watch this legit all the time.
Yeah.
You guys
All
are
the
like
time.
Ralphie from The Sopranos.
He watched it.
He was obsessed with it.
It was
yeah.
a huge plot point on the
was
show.
obsessed
with it,
Love
yeah.
Gladiator.
I wouldn't say we were completely obsessed, but I would definitely say that we loved it since day one.
So I'm going to ask you guys something. This is a little embarrassing because I've never understood this joke.
Okay.
In Airplane, the
Movie Airplane.
The movie
This
Airplane.
is a bit off topic.
Not really. So
Oh, you like movies about gladiators?
you like movies about gladiators. I don't get the joke.
Because they're half naked men.
I think it's like a 70s gay porn reference. That's
Is
the
it?
only thing I could think
Like,
of.
he's trying to fuck the kid, right?
Well,
Like,
obviously, yeah,
yeah.
that's the whole...
Yeah. I think if I had to guess, I mean, like I said, it's an older movie. We weren't around for the punchlines around then. But when you think about the old Gladiator movies, there were a lot of half-naked men.
Sure, look at Spartacus.
Spartacus.
Which has gay overtones in it.
Which I'm referencing, and I think it was a reference to that.
okay.
Yeah.
I like
I could be wrong.
clams and oysters.
Yes.
I am Spartacus. They're all oiled and like,
All right. So,
like, I bet you are Spartacus.
but we're not watching Spartacus today. We're watching Gladiator, a movie with zero homoerotic overtones.
This is very manly.
This is just pure manly man.
Masculine.
we just stick to
Masculinity.
incestuosity there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the movie opens
Busy
and
little bees.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
and we are in 180 AD.
Yes.
In Germania.
Great place.
And we open with a kick-ass fucking battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Yeah.
Especially like of that era of like the early 2000s.
Probably
like,
ever.
Does it get better than that fucking opening scene?
No.
People
no,
should know
maybe
when they're
like
conquered.
Private Ryan.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's the only comparison. And funny thing about that battle is it's really cool seeing those catapults and the archers and the ballistas. They wouldn't have had ballistas and catapults in that situation.
No, those are siege
They're
weapons.
siege weapons.
Yeah.
But you could argue maybe a little bit because it's towards the end of the battle for that area, so you might have had some siege weapons pushed past the walls, but usually they wouldn't have done that.
This is kind of a transitional time for the Empire. Like it's, well, plain and simple, like this is the turning point when it goes from the Pax Romana to the fall. The fall is very long, obviously. It takes a couple hundred years. But like things are changing. And historically, the movie is so not accurate at all, like as far as what's going on politically
Well, it's
in the movie.
fake. It's a movie. It's not exactly.
So
what it's
one
supposed to be.
thing that's funny about this is the movie had hired historians,
Yeah.
and then they all quit.
They all quit.
They walked out like, this is bullshit.
Right. Yeah, they portray it as like Germany's being conquered, which
Yeah,
is just
yeah.
not the case.
Yeah.
What was going on as far as the Macromani Wars, which is what it is. It's the war in Germania. Prior to this, there had been a war in Persia, and they had to remove a bunch of troops that they had stationed on the Rhine and the Danube frontier, and they pulled them out, and it weakened them a lot, and the Germans decided to take advantage of this. So that's when they started raiding and doing all kinds of shit, and it turned into a 10-year, almost like 15-year quagmire for the Romans, where they're just trying to maintain
German
the border.
tribes.
Just fighting
Yeah.
insurgents.
Yeah. Right.
Were they like tribal at that point?
Absolutely,
The Germans, yeah,
yes.
they were just tribes. So
And the main thing the Romans did was not like conquer them until towards the end. It was try to divide and conquer them. So you like pay off one tribe to fight the other tribe and just cause havoc within their ranks.
And this scene
Which is standard Roman
specifically, though,
practice.
was so. I can't imagine seeing it for the first time in theaters and how blown away you must have been.
It's such a tone setter too. Like,
Yeah.
like you're in for just a violent, badass fucking movie.
The big music,
Yeah.
and trumpets, and fucking awesomeness.
This was one of the earlier films, I think, at least that I saw in my life, that you would see sword violence, at like sword and shield war like that, where it's not like a quick thing. It takes time, and you don't die instantly, and it's bloody, and like there's screaming, and
There's a mean dog.
very good. There's a dog that bites people.
I love the guy that like it's right before they start fighting when he throws the head. The German guy
Yeah,
throws
yeah.
the
They
head.
Kill the messenger.
Yes, they kill the messenger, and then he goes, yeah, and you hear like this background noise, which I've heard in like video games. It's a sound effect of them just going.
Yeah. And then he goes like, people should know when they're conquered.
Yeah.
Would you, Quintus? Would I? What a line.
Yeah,
what a
great.
line.
It's great. But they're not conquered. Because
No.
what ends up happening after this battle, when Marcus Aurelius dies, spoiler alert, is Commodus immediately is like, I've had enough of this, it's cold here, I'm going home. So he lets them just be.
Also, we got to talk about Russell Crowe's coat in the opening.
Oh, he's got a big fur coat.
It is a fantastic coat.
Yes.
God, yeah.
Looks like it's like made of lion.
Did you guys watch Rome
Yeah.
on HBO?
Yes,
which is
obviously.
the greatest show of
Yeah.
all time.
Yes.
That I think there's a moment when Antony goes up north in like season 2 when he has like the same coat, and it's great.
Well, it's a pelt, right? Like maybe
Yeah, it's just like a wolf pelt.
Yeah, the armor in this movie is really intricate. A lot of the
Especially
higher
Commodus'
level
stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to as well. It's very ornate and like golden.
Costumes
it's very
rule.
cool. Yeah.
So obviously we get one of the big lines in the movie at this point. What we do in life echoes in your eternity, you know, and like
Oh, yeah.
kind of setting the tone for what is coming in the movie.
Steve and I watched this together, and as we were watching, we were just pointing out like there's like so many great quotes in this.
Yeah.
Like every other line is like a fucking
quote it, yeah.
whoa.
Well, I think when you're playing around with like Marcus Aurelius shit, you're gonna
Yeah.
get a bunch of good quotes,
Well,
right?
That's what he's known for.
Exactly,
The,
that's-
the Meditations.
Yes.
Which was his big book that he wrote. Well, it
Every-
was really
yeah.
like journals, and essentially it was like Stoicism philosophy that he was inventing at the time, and it became like this great moment in not English but Western literature. And pretty much what it is just like little quotations and reminders on how to live your life virtuously.
Well, everything this man says in this movie specifically is Shakespearean.
You mean English Bob?
Yeah.
English Bob from Unforgiven? No, nobody saw
Oh.
Unforgiven.
I haven't seen Unforgiven in a while. He's the villain.
He's the Duck of Death.
yes. Richard Harris. He's also Dumbledore,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yes.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Dumbledore.
Oh.
Yeah, he died after the Harry Potter one. After the first Harry Potter, he passed away.
I also have here. I never really think of Romans of having archers. Really,
That was not their strong suit.
did they have archers?
Of course they did.
yeah.
They did.
They were, especially at this point, like that's what I was going to get to before. Like the army is changing, and they're changing the tactics and how they have to fight stuff because their enemies are getting better. They've been fighting the Romans for so long that they're starting to fight like Romans. And you have people that have been in the legions that are now go back to their home tribes and fight Rome again. So they adapt and they take tactics from their enemies. But like in the old days, like the Republican period, they were known for the pilum, which was like this spear. Like you have a bunch of guys, it's like a javelin. Like
Okay.
a bunch of guys would run out and throw it and then run back, and whip out the gladius. And
You have to watch out for Lamar and his limp-wristed throwing style.
Yes.
It's very deadly when he has the javelin. So there's a lot of slowdown in the fight.
Yeah.
A lot of slow-mo, make things epic and slow. I think it's not completely cliche yet.
Was this before Matrix?
Matrix is first.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Those two
Matrix
might have
changed
been,
the game, right?
They might
Yeah.
have been being made at the same time, though.
but it's not like every epic thing, you just had tons of slowdown. It's not totally cliche yet.
There's a lot of that throughout the movie. Throughout the
There
whole
is.
thing. Yeah.
It's very 99,
Well,
2000.
I mean, let's go back here for a second. I don't know if I would call it a slowdown. I think it's choppy. I think that it has some effects of echoing, like the image is echoing, almost like a trail.
Yeah.
But it's not slowed down. The volume is lowered. And there's playing slow music. They're not slowing the battle down. The battle's still going fast.
Right.
But the music is slow to make it feel like more time is passing.
There's definitely some slow-mo shots, though.
Not as much as you would think.
Well, the movie plays with like kind of ethereal stuff throughout it. Like
Yeah,
you get those images of him in like a field, and that's supposed to be
Yeah.
paradise or heaven or something.
Like the slow-mo scene is that guy, the German guy swinging the mace.
Oh, yeah.
And he hits the shield. That's slow. But the rest of it really isn't as slow as we would imagine.
Also, there's a line here which connects to the three of us in a way.
oh.
he says
Men shouldn't lay with other men.
no, that definitely. At this table, we throw that out the window. We're actually all on each other's laps right now.
We're using one microphone.
Yes. So there's a line that says, "You have proved thy valor." Did you guys catch that?
Oh my God, that's Biggie. That's our friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you catch that in the movie?
No.
So
This is in the
Who
battle?
says that?
Marcus Aurelius says that to Russell Crowe.
After the battle.
And we use
Maximus.
that.
So
Did we subconsciously use that, or did you do that on purpose?
So real quick, we have to give some background
Yeah.
to people.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a long time, and like we've made a bunch of short films together and stuff like this. And at the end of one of them, Anthony encounters a king.
Yes.
And the king says to Anthony, "You
said,
have
"You proved your valor."
And that's played by our friend Biggie. But
Yeah.
what's
Did you steal that? Because you wrote it.
I think he improv that because I don't think
Yeah,
we
I
were.
think he did.
I don't think we were having scripts back then.
No, we didn't have scripts. We were just filming. We just had a
we'd
camera.
be like,
yeah.
we'd be like, okay, so this happens in this scene and go.
Go. Yeah.
There was no real scripts or
But
dialogue back then.
no. He doesn't say in our movie. He doesn't say you prove thy valor. He says prove thy valor. He's asking him to prove his
He
valor.
does it twice.
Yes.
Nobody cares about
Yeah.
this, but just for
Just
our,
saying.
just,
Yeah.
just for
Just for
accuracy
our
sake. He
accuracy
says,
sake, yeah.
prove thyself worthy, and then after I prove myself worthy, he says, you have proved your valor.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, so I was wrong.
He
Okay.
says the direct
the exact
quote,
quote. Wow.
which I was watching it and my jaw dropped.
So who would have known that Biggie was a world-class writer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves Gladiator apparently.
Who did this? Who's the director?
Ridley Scott,
Ridley Scott.
who does not fuck around. I love Ridley
You
Scott.
love
Yeah,
Ridley Scott.
yeah.
He
One of
did
the best.
The last duel.
Yes, which was fucking awesome. I loved it.
You did.
Yes,
It's been getting mixed reviews. I haven't seen it.
you're going to love it.
Okay. I believe you.
I know what you like. You're going to like Last Duel. There's
Okay.
reasons why people don't like it, and we'll talk about that when we end up
We
watching
will
it.
be watching
that
that at
bridge,
some
yeah.
point.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So at this scene, now in the movie, we're at the part where the battle's over,
Battle's
the
over.
war's over, and now Commodus is coming to see his father.
Commodus?
Commodus? He's the stand-up comedian. What's
Commodus,
the deal
yeah.
with Praetorian helmets? You can't see.
And all the soldiers are forced to laugh.
Yeah. Why are they giving us peanuts when we're on the front lines? The shells, they get in our sandals.
Well, he's going to see his father with his sister.
I love the idea of like stand-up comedian, like
I like the
Emperor.
idea.
Gladiator.
I like the idea of Michael Richards getting in on
Don't let him see Digimon Hunsu.
it. Big Laugh Factory sign on the battlefield.
Yeah. Well, he never would have said what he said in Germania.
It's a Numidian! It's a Numidian, Jerry!
So, if you don't know, look up Michael Richards' Laugh Factory for his famous meltdown quote.
Oh my god. We might have to cut that.
No, I think we could. We didn't say it, you know? We're good, right? No one's losing their jobs.
Oh, anyway,
Commodus.
they said that they were on the road for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Is that like I don't know if that's
Sure.
accurate.
I mean, they're
Do you
coming
think
from
that's
Rome. They're going to Germania. They're walking.
About a 2 week. Well, I guess walking. Yeah.
Horse.
And
They're
on a
being
horse and
carried
buggy.
by people, you know, they got their.
They have a litter.
It's a carriage.
They didn't have a litter. They had
It's
a carriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. The Romans weren't big on litters, I don't think. Maybe around town. Like if you're just going to the forum for the day and you're a aristocrat, you'll have your litter of guys, your slaves.
Well, we see Lucille, I think her name is. She's on one later. Lucilla, yes.
yes.
So one thing I do like in this movie is they show Commodus Training at one point, and he is actually a capable warrior.
Well, that is completely accurate.
Yes.
Commodus was big on the games, and he would fight people, but they were fixed matches. Like he'd have his opponent have his heel sliced, like his Achilles tendon, or they'd stab the guy beforehand, or he's fighting like midgets or sick people, or people like there was a big thing at this time, the Antonine Plague, which is very briefly referenced in the movie. Massive, massive plague that was a big part of the fall of the empire as far as depopulation. They think it's smallpox now. But that had come in from the east when they were fighting the Persians.
Oh, I thought it came from pangolins. But
There's a bat. There's a bat. There's the osteo wet market.
so one thing with Commodus too is apparently the people that were chosen to lose to him were very happy about it because it basically meant they were going to be freed and spared, and getting the cuts from Commodus was like kind of like if he didn't kill you, it was seen as like a good thing for you, and you were basically given your freedom, like you served a purpose.
It was
to
like
him.
a badge of honor.
Yes. However, he also would do cruel things.
Right.
Apparently,
Don't get it twisted. Like he's doing demented shit.
Yeah.
And he's killing a lot of people.
You heard about the one with all the handicapped people?
Yeah.
He had, at one point, he had them bring in like 300 handicapped people into the Coliseum with him, and he was just fucking murdering them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, like cripples, people with mental problems, and just executing them.
Jeez.
So he's actually worse in real life than in the movie.
Yes, the movie downplays how nuts he is.
Yeah.
And he's also vicious in the movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you know another funny thing? I didn't think of it till you said it, but there's a world leader today who does something similar to this.
Who?
So Commodus wants to be like the modern athletes, right? Which are gladiators. They're like rock stars.
Sure.
People love them.
No,
they have
that's not
fans.
true. That's not true.
I heard that that some of them did have fans.
Yeah, they had fans and stuff. But as far as the social ladder goes, like gladiators are lower than slaves. Like to see the emperor go down and fight in the gladiatorial arena would be like watching the president of the United States
play hockey
in a crack den.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Yeah. You mentioned
So
crack.
yeah, but Vladimir Putin, I don't know if you've ever seen him play hockey in the KHL, which is the biggest Russian league in the world. That's the KHL is the Continental Hockey League.
He goes and plays with the.
He plays every year in the All-Star game.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah, and
Like for real?
For real, he plays. However, it is so clear that the players are not playing for
Yeah,
real.
they're not checking
and they
him.
just they let him score at will, like every shot, and like it's on the paper the next day, like Russian.
Glorious leader has won again.
Exactly. It's like it's like he scores like 10 goals in a game, and like they're all like good job, and like he's like beating like guys that have been in the NHL, and like you could see footage of it, and the guys are just like standing there and he's skating around them.
Oh, Vlad.
Yeah, it's very like.
He has to know, obviously, though. Like he's not like a dumb guy. He knows
No,
they're
knows.
messing around.
Of course he
and,
knows.
You know.
Not like Kim Jong-il when he was doing psychic shit with the soccer players. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, he was willing them to victory with his mind.
The World Cup, what was that, like 2008?
Yeah.
He was telling everyone that he had psychically influenced the outcome, but according to the people of Korea, they won every match. So
they won gold, right?
yeah. Where are we? We're still talking about this movie?
So anyway, Joaquin is a capable warrior, and I like that they show his training sequence of him like fighting a bunch of dudes. I thought that was a cool touch.
But not in battle. It's all gladiator.
It's training stuff.
No, but you would never find him like in a war.
Yeah.
No.
You know? He's not that guy. He's all about being in the arenas. He's a showman, you know? That was a real quick moment in the movie. Like
I like it's a moment that doesn't need to be there, but it does establish something about his character, and that is that he is capable.
Right.
He's not a complete joke. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like his emotional problems are honestly what in this movie do him in.
A lesser movie would have had him be like a sniveling guy.
Exactly. And then your threat is, once once Crowe gets his hands on him, because they built Maximus up to be God. It's curtains for him.
Sometimes the cold makes the blade stick. So then we get this scene where Marcus Aurelius decides that this is the most insane historically thing in the movie. He wants to return Rome to being a republic, which is just crazy talk. Like at this point, no one alive remembers the republic. It's been dead for over a century at this point, a century and a half. yeah, I don't know where they came up with this idea. I guess to appeal to American audiences, because we automatically just are like, oh, monarchy, empires, those are bad.
We're predisposed to hate that.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like we hate monarchies, we hate one single ruler. It's like it's against the American way. But I did see online that some people said that there was a similar thing where there was this dude, Cincinnatus.
Well, this is long before.
Yes, but things like this have happened where, like, random people would be in charge, they'd restore a certain thing, and then they would not serve.
What that is the Romans had a system in place during the Republican period of having emergency dictator powers. So, like, if, let's say, Hannibal is at the gates and you need to remove the bureaucracy and get shit done quickly, what they do is elect a dictator who is the government for all intents and purposes for a short period of time.
Do you remember
and then
the
he gives the powers back after the crisis has been averted.
It happened one time to this chancellor. He was horribly disfigured in this attack by his police force, and he had to get voted. And they gave him unlimited
I love democracy.
Unlimited power.
Power and liberty.
The attack on my life by the Jedi has left me horribly deformed.
Oh, Palpatine.
So anyway, Marcus Aurelius goes to Maximus and he's like, my son's a bitch. You gotta lead.
Right. And historically, like, when people talk about Marcus Aurelius and his one fatal flaw is his love for Commodus.
Yeah.
So it's completely the opposite of reality.
And Maximus goes, no.
But that's why he must do it.
That's why it must be you.
He's Washington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when Washington was, coming up in the world, they called him the American Cincinnatus. That was...
Yes, I know, that's his nickname.
Right.
So it makes sense that that's what they did in this film, then. It really ties into a little bit of your American history there.
Yeah, I think that was completely done just for
us.
the
For
benefit
us.
of modern audiences,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. You know, you're trying to sell tickets and you want people to like the movie and you're appealing. So obviously Maximus, he ends up kind of accepting, I guess. It's not really clear, right?
Well, he's going to do it. We all know he's going to do it.
Well, he says to his follower that they might not be going home just yet, which means he's
Right.
considering it. They never say that he's going to do it until he finds out the next scene, which is Marcus Aurelius is strangled to death.
Well, and this is kind of somewhat accurate because there is some, like, people do suspect that he may have been poisoned by Commodus in a play for power.
That is,
That's a
obviously
rumor.
nobody knows for sure.
We'll never know, but we do know he died. And I do want to give a little film school note here. I'm going to call this Film School 101. So when Commodus comes... When Commodus comes into the room, we see what's called split-level lighting on him, right? So anytime you're watching a movie, you can look for this, and it's a good tip-off of something. So split-level lighting is picture a person's face, right? Half their face will be in shadow, and you'll see half the face regular. It's called split-level lighting.
This is a common thing.
It's a common thing. But when it's done, it's typically to show a duplicitous character or a conflicted character, something like that.
Subconsciously, your mind automatically equates them with
You
half in the
associate
dark,
it.
half in the light.
sinisterness.
It's like if I'm peering out at you from somewhere and you only see my eyes, it projects a certain thing.
Right.
Now,
You know?
which scene that he's walking in and he talking about, is this the scene when he speaks to Maximus, or is this the scene where he speaks to Marcus Aurelius?
Commodus is talking to Marcus Aurelius. However, they do it to him throughout the whole movie.
Right.
It's like in old Star Treks when they would light up the woman's eyes.
Yes.
Morticia Adams.
So anytime you are you're watching a movie and you see half a character's face in shadow, there's a good shot that they're going to end up being evil or they're conflicted about something.
Or at least they want you to think they are.
Exactly. It could be a misdirect. In this case, it's so early in the movie that it's like...
Have I missed it? Have I missed the battle?
You missed the war. Honor Maximus.
So Commodus kills Marcus Aurelius.
Yes. But they have a great scene where they talk about love and how he felt like he was a disappointment to his father.
Well, his father hands him the, was it 4 virtues?
Yes.
And none of the virtues
He's
that he
not on
has
the
are on the
list.
list. So that's
Right.
when he's like, I know you never wanted me as a son, which, you know,
This
makes
is true.
sense. It makes sense.
This is like all from what we know about the period. Marcus knew his son was a fuck up, and he was a partier, and that's all he was into, and he wasn't ready to rule. But he loved him, and he was hoping that he'd just kind of grow out of it. He's much older in this than he should be. Like the real guy was 19 when he became emperor. And if you look at Roman history, anytime there's a young guy under like 26,
Shit goes
27,
awry.
it's a bad emperor.
Yeah.
You need a grown-up to have that much power, you know?
But wasn't Cleopatra like 16? And like
she was definitely
16,
young.
17 years old, and she actually did good.
She did. I mean, her reign ended with Egypt being a colony.
She did great.
So let me ask you a question: if you're 19 and you become emperor,
Yeah.
what's your decree, Anthony?
Chip and soda party. We jump on all the beds. We lock the parents in the basement and make sure they don't get divorced.
Oh, so it's just
It's a 90s kids movie. It's going to be awesome.
19-year-old Brian, if I'm emperor, it would have been like I would have been one of these dudes getting their heads lopped off. Like I was not mature enough. It'd be like everyone just has to watch movies all the time. If you don't, you get your head cut off and shit. And like I would be like Putin, where my sports teams are winning like 100-0 because everyone's in fear. Like the Devils are like perennial champs. The Jets win every year. I'd be loving it until I get my head cut off. But
And that's what he did. Like he made all the senators and like aristocrats in Rome go to watch him every time he would go in the Colosseum and fight people. Like it's mandatory. If you don't show up, he kills you.
totally would have been me at 19.
Right.
Like I'm that much of an asshole. Yeah. What about you, Steve? 19-year-old Steve.
I don't think it would have been much different than now. 19-year-old me.
You had the emotional
He's so level-headed.
maturity.
He's so
I was
cool.
level-headed.
I'm 19, Steve.
Steve. I'm
It
nice.
It would have been dark.
It would have been dark. It would have been dark.
Everyone just would have had to wear cloaks and be brooding.
You know, so if I had to go like a crazy route,
Today's Iron Maiden Day. Everybody listens to Iron Maiden.
yeah, it would have been something stupid.
It's my dying
Like,
bride
it's tolerable.
Monday.
It's tolerable, but like nobody really wants to do it. Now I'm not gonna get my head chopped off, but nobody's gonna really like me. You know? And I'm okay with that because I'm not getting my head chopped off.
Okay, so Commodus kills Marcus Aurelius.
Yes. And they have a great scene. I love this scene. When Maximus comes back and he demands loyalty from him.
Yes.
And he just kind of looks at him because walking out of that room, you know if he is allowed to live, Maximus is allowed to get away right now. It's civil war. Like, there's
Yeah.
going to be a faction with Commodus, there's going to be a faction with Maximus, and they're going to have to fight, you know?
And as Maximus says, his men are loyal to him.
And that will come into play later in the movie.
Yes.
But he flees. Well, Commodus immediately tries to arrest him. And it's, you know...
Doesn't try, he succeeds.
Right. People have to pick sides, and Quintus, that piece of shit, fucking betrays him. And...
Now let's talk about the Quintus situation, right?
Yeah.
If you're Quintus, are you going to let the general go back to the army and cause a massive civil war, which could have serious implications of thousands upon thousands of people dying? Or do you stick with the crazy emperor like he did and just say, listen, it's one guy that we just got to kill. It's going to be shit for a little while, but at least thousands of people are not going to die.
You have to put yourself
I think he picked the right choice.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in his shoes. They don't know he's going to be crazy.
Right.
They, you know, and they've dealt with crazy before. They can put up with a certain degree of shitty emperor. He also probably was promised some kind of payout, and we know this because he becomes the Praetorian Guard captain immediately after that. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that he would become the guard captain considering he was right under the general.
Right.
So he was the next in line anyway. No?
Well, the Praetorian guy is the head of the emperor's bodyguard. Like,
Oh, okay, I see.
That's what that is.
All right.
Like,
Praetorian guards also had rivalries with generals, I heard. Like
Sure.
They didn't like legionnaires typically.
right, because they're like seen as above them. They have the emperor's ear. They're his go-to guys, and the emperor obviously can deliver anything. So, though that's a good spot to be in. That's a powerful position.
So they capture Russell Crowe. He has a nice throw with a sword.
This is the silly part.
Silly.
This is so silly.
Yes.
That ain't going through anything.
Yeah.
That's gonna hit off the guys. You're like, did somebody just throw a sword at me?
Swords work better when they have some force behind them.
It went through two plates of armor, like leather, his bone, muscle. It went through all of it. Probably
Sinew, say sinew.
From what?
Sinew.
Bone and sinew. Probably from what? 20 feet away.
Yeah,
he
it's
threw
just
that
flying.
thing. It's just flying through the air. It's just that's like one of the two silly parts of the movie.
Wait,
that
so
And wasn't his hands tied? Did he have handcuffs or something on?
No, he takes them off.
Sometimes the blade sticks in
Because
the
he kills the two guys, so we have to actually say that first. Sometimes the blade sticks.
Yeah.
First off, no.
He can't pull it out.
He can't pull out a sword, frost or not. It's not
frozen solid.
They're not in Antarctica. They're not.
It's a cold day.
It's cold day in Germany. It's not that cold. It's not below zero. It's just not. So like, there's this whole scene was a little movie magic-y.
So you don't think it's possible to throw a sword through someone?
I mean, maybe.
Not from
What if
20
it's
feet
like
away.
Tom Brady?
No.
You know Tom Brady could do it.
No.
He can
Tom
do
Brady
anything.
can do anything.
Exactly.
He's the goat.
He's the goat.
Yes. Come on, you guys don't think you could throw a sword through someone?
Maybe
Bruce
if you were throwing it at close range like a spear, like you'd have to hold it on the blade.
Yeah,
You'd have to cut your hand to do it.
These
right?
are the people who are escorting him. Are they Praetorian Guard or are they just soldiers? Do we know this?
I think they're just
guard.
soldiers.
Oh, they're soldiers?
Yeah.
So the average soldier there was pretty well armed and well suited for
Knows how to
taking
kill.
blows.
Yeah.
Like their armor was actually, I'm pretty sure it was like a form of steel or
It's
something.
leather.
right?
It's iron. It's
a couple of
there's
different
probably
things.
a little bit of steel.
Even if it's leather, it's not going through leather. It ain't going through. It's just not.
it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I guess you just have to accept it in the
Right.
terms of the movie for
Right.
entertainment.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it just shows how badass
There's a
Maximus
couple of
is.
moments like that throughout. There's a guy with a fucking
No, we'll get to it.
automatic
We'll get to it.
crossbow.
No, we got to talk about that. We'll get to it because I did some research on that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Because we were talking when Steve
were
and I
talking
watched this,
about
we were
it, yeah.
talking about that
We were talking
particular
about
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously he sees his wife and son dead.
Well, hold on. What is this time warp? It's so weird. Like he had. This is a ride all the way to Spain from Germania.
Okay, so I have a question about Spain.
Okay.
And this is very Jerry Seinfeld. I'm going to ask it, but I don't mean it that way. What's the deal with Spain?
What's the deal with
Yeah.
Spain?
Spain is a Roman province which was conquered during the Republican period many, many years earlier. So it's Romans living in Spain.
Okay, so it's basically like saying you're a Spaniard is like New Yorker. Like if he was in like
Right.
Tim's and a Yankee hat.
Sure. Yeah.
Or in this case, I would think it's probably like Rome is New York and he's like from Jersey or something.
You know what I mean? But they're calling him by his province.
Yeah.
His province.
Spaniard.
Yes.
Spaniard.
Yeah, he rides all the way to Spain, and I'm guessing it's southern Spain because when he sees his family and they've been hung.
He goes to the desert.
He gets to there's a desert.
Yeah.
He has a snot cry.
There's like a weird plateau.
Yeah.
And I guess this is France. This is what France looks like.
I guess. I don't think there's a part of France like that, to be completely honest. But if we think about where that location is to Germany, he might have just went straight south and then west instead of cutting across diagonally.
It's like the sword throw.
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
a sword
matter.
throw.
It's a
doesn't matter.
wacky little warp.
We gotta kill it's the John Wick thing. We gotta kill something so he has a reason for
I mean, it
revenge.
looked like
And
he was in Utah.
The assassins beat him there
Yeah.
by just minutes. It looks like.
Well, no, because the assassins are being sent from the Empire. They're not being sent from where they are. Because the assassins are the Praetorians.
Keep in mind, word has to travel. So I don't know. They beat them. Whatever.
Carrier pigeons.
This is also a lot
Carrier
of
pigeons.
this is a lot of effort to go through for Commodus. Like you kill him, you really don't got to worry about
gotta
the
worry
wife.
about his wife.
You have to kill it.
Yeah.
You have to kill his son.
Why?
Do you know somebody was interviewed from World War II, a German soldier, saying, "Why'd you kill the kids?" And the way they put it was, "Well, we
They
killed
don't
their
fight back."
No, we killed their parents. These kids are going to grow up to have grudges against us, so we have to kill the kids to protect us," and that's how they rationale it.
I guess if you're an imperial usurper, I guess.
So imagine this kid grows up and then starts to gain clout within the military that he's the general's son, he's going to lead us. You have to squash that.
it worked for Octavian.
You have to
that
squash
name
it.
is a powerful thing.
Uh-huh.
So then he's like laying on the ground, and then he wakes up and he's in Africa.
He's in Zuka Bazahar. Is that it?
I didn't write it down. I don't remember.
No. He
It's like Morocco.
He was captured on his burnt land,
Right.
by slavers. I don't know where they're from, but yeah, he went to basically.
He wakes up in Africa.
Yeah.
We're in like Morocco.
Yeah.
I remember when we were watching it, I looked it up.
Could
and
it have
yeah,
been closer
it's
to-
modern?
It's in Algeria.
Yeah, it's modern day
Okay.
Algeria,
Yeah.
Morocco, that area.
Yep.
It's North Africa,
I
which is
just-
also part of the empire for anybody who doesn't know.
And we see a bunch of exotic animals, including giraffes.
Yes.
I'll tell you a quick story about giraffes. Me and my wife, we went to the zoo, and we were.
I hear it does like this. I didn't mean to insult your
Yeah,
wife. It's just I'm making a
I know,
Rocky reference.
I know.
Sorry.
So,
Hey, Rock.
yeah, so we went to the zoo, and we see these two giraffes.
Were they queer giraffes like in Gladiator?
Wait, the giraffes were queer?
Yeah, he sold them queer
He
giraffes.
sold them queer giraffes. Proximo's really angry because the giraffes won't mate, and he's like, "You sold me queer giraffes. I want my money back."
So they may have been. It was very weird. So we saw the giraffes, and they're like drinking and stuff. And then one giraffe starts pissing, and the other giraffe dips his head down and starts lapping up the piss as it's coming out.
Did you
And
get
it
a-
was
Were these German giraffes?
Yeah. How erect did you get?
We got thrown out of the zoo because I tried to join in.
You sold me S&M giraffes.
I want more. Give me 2 more.
So it was every time I see giraffes now, I have this image of the giraffe pissing in another giraffe's face, and it's really disturbing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
What
for
do
the
you
rest
What
of
do you
my
like
life.
better, piss giraffes or like when gorillas throw shit at each other?
I'm a fan of the shit throwing. It's more of a classic.
Yeah.
You know, the pissing in another animal's face, not something you see all the time.
I like that though, and I like the novelty.
I like your classics, you know?
Gotta stick with the classic.
So now he's under Proximo, right? He gets sold to Proximo.
Who Proximo is like one of the best characters.
He's
in this
awesome.
Movie. He's
just
good.
so cool.
He's so good.
Apparently, the original. He was supposed to fight Proximo in the arena at one point
I read this
before
too.
Oliver Reed died.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say, I don't like that as much as what would have happened.
You prefer it the way it played out.
Yes.
It played out way better.
Yeah, I don't think him fighting
That would've been
Proximo
stupid.
would have been as impactful as what happened.
I think we were probably supposed to see Proximo as more of a mentor than he actually comes off in the movie, and it would have been like this emotional thing.
Right. He has to fight his mentor. You think? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it would have been like Proximo being like, "Kill me," you know.
Right.
Like,
This is your
you're-
freedom. And
Yes.
then he doesn't.
Like, there's no learning period for Maximus. He comes into it already the best.
Well, he's a general.
Right. Well, it's fine narratively, but I think we're supposed to I think the relationship that the movie's trying to sell us, and it fails completely, is that Proximo is teaching him.
No. That's
Proximo
not
is
where it went.
teaching him showmanship.
Yeah, he's teaching him how
Maybe,
to
yeah.
be a good gladiator. He says I know you could fight and kill, but that doesn't mean that's not gonna make you the best.
Yes.
Right.
It's like if you're a boxer and you knock everyone out in 10 seconds, you're not going to make as much money
Right.
as a boxer that could, and you're silent. You're not going to make as much money as a boxer that can talk trash and then knock
Then
someone
go
out.
9,
You know what I
8,
mean?
9 rounds.
That's a
and,
good
yeah.
point.
Like it's putting on the show. And we see that when he does, later.
Proximo, of course, we find out is a former gladiator who has been freed by Marcus
Yes.
Aurelius.
And that was a real thing. Gladiators would get those swords.
Yeah, Rubius.
And I think there's a comment real quick right around this time in the movie where Proximo points out that Aurelius had canceled the gladiatorial battles.
Yeah. He said that Marcus Aurelius sent them to destitute, basically. The reason why they're in this province, like being poor, is because of him. So you could assume that he either canceled the games or
Right.
slowed them down in some
They don't
regard.
go into it, but there is a little bit of a tidbit of reality to that. He had ended the games permanently in this town in Syria because a rebellion had started there during his reign. So as like a punishment, he stopped the games.
Wow,
And
what a
that-
punishment. You're not allowed to murder each other anymore.
Well, that's the main entertainment. It's like canceling the NFL.
Yeah, I guess so.
Canceling baseball, especially.
But then again, I don't think so. I think it's more like canceling bum fights. Because realistically, you said it like it's the equivalent of the emperor going into a crack den.
Yes, but
You know what I mean?
But it's the main form of entertainment.
Yeah,
Right,
It's
okay.
like if you cancel baseball in the 1930s, it's like that's
Yeah.
all there is. Like
Right,
people
Rome
are
is
gonna be pissed.
gladiators, you know, and gladiators are Rome.
He knows the sounds of the Colosseum.
So
You bring them death.
So
And
we
love
get
them for
a
it.
cool blood transition where it's like the blood transitions into something else.
We meet the black guy.
Yes, which I can't remember that character's name.
He's in a couple of movies right around this
Digimon
time.
Hansu. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Did you ever see the Four Feathers with
Did you see Proximo smack his
which
ass?
I'm definitely gonna bring up in the next show we do, the Four Feathers, where he's in that too, with what's his name, the Joker, Heath Ledger.
Okay.
I don't know. Never seen it.
Digimon Hansu's character's name is Juba.
Juba. Yes.
Yeah, but Digimon Hansu is a great actor, and he's one of those guys. Every time he shows up, you're like, "Oh, it's that guy," and you're
Yeah.
happy to see him. But he's never is given a bad performance.
He's awesome.
He's great in everything.
And there's a couple of like new characters here. We get the big guy
Yes.
who's I don't know his name.
He looks like Chris DiStefano, the stand-up comedian. If
A
you've
little
ever
bit.
seen him,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He looks like him. We get
It's Haken. Haken is the German guy.
okay.
Is he German?
He's German, yeah.
Okay.
He says, "You won many battles in Germania." And yes, in many places. It sounds like Romania, but he's saying Germania.
Uh-huh.
But it's Haken, yeah.
Hagen.
Hagen.
Last name Das.
Das.
Yes. The inventor of ice cream. Okay, so we get those guys. We're introduced to them. We get our first gladiator fight. The wall spikes are fucking
Well,
awesome.
hold on. Before the fight, you got to remember they're doing red and yellow. They're painting,
yeah.
They're
Beaver
painting
figured this out.
red and yellow circles on each gladiator, or
Okay.
at least soon to be gladiator. And if they could fight, they get red. If they can't fight, they get yellow, meaning they're marked for death. So when they're paired up, it's red and yellow, a good guy and a bad guy. So the good guy is kind of struggling to be good, right?
Oh.
Maximus doesn't fight and gets marked yellow and
throws
gets
the fight.
paired with a red guy, Juba, because now it's two good fighters together, and that's how they win. Otherwise, he would have been with a bad guy and would have got killed.
He would have been dead
So
weight.
Maximus knew he could fight and knew that he's really good at it, and he's like, all right, I'll get paired up with somebody who could fight. So he outsmarted Proximo's system.
That's a great character moment, and I didn't pick up on it.
I never caught
Yep.
that before. Beaver, when we were watching,
I had to tell him,
I'm sorry
yeah.
I keep calling you Beaver.
fine.
You're
I had to
Steve
tell him.
here.
You could call him Beaver.
You can call me anything you want.
So
I want my
obviously,
name to be Frank Jones.
obviously, me, Steve, and Anthony are good friends. Me and Steve have been friends our entire lives.
Since we were 3 years old.
And his nickname is Beaver.
Yeah.
So that's how he's introduced to people.
Yeah, when we were watching the movie, he pointed that out. I was like, oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
That is a great detail,
It shows
and
that
I
he's
never
a really,
noticed it.
really good tactician, which comes to play later in the Coliseum.
Right.
So we get these fights,
Yeah.
which are pretty fucking cool.
Provincial
Badass.
fights.
Badass.
Yep.
We get the "Are you
Oh.
not entertained?" line, which is probably the most famous line.
The
in the
first
movie, right?
gladiator fight is the closest to what real gladiator fights was.
just a pit.
It's a pit with spikes. Maybe not the spikes, but
They do
all
spikes.
those characters. The guy with the helmet, the shield, and the trident was real. The
Yeah,
big guy
there's
with the
all-
helmet was real. Like all those guys
you
were
get
good.
a gladiator movie, doesn't matter when it was made. At some point, you're going to get the trident and net guy.
That's what they gave you. They gave you that. You're nimble, but you
Yes.
could throw a net on so because it was real. It was real. That big helmet guy that gets he gets killed by Maximus and the other guy with the big mallet. That helmet is actually what they would wear.
Yeah.
It's in a museum.
So fighting with the bulkhead has to be hard too.
No peripherals. All these helmets
Yeah.
have no peripheral vision.
Like, and I feel
All
like
you gotta
they
do is
don't
run a circle.
They
You're gonna
don't.
get 'em.
They don't protect you much. It can't be that great to wear.
It's probably for that reason too, where it makes it harder.
Its purpose is to stop a blow. You know, it's not supposed to.
Yeah, but the rest of their body's naked.
Did you see the movie by Roman Will Smith about the what's it called? The concussion.
Will Smith.
The concussions that they got in the gladiator pits, where they tried to sue the gladiator FL, the GFL.
I assume you're making a reference to something. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what
it
you're
is.
talking about.
Yeah, this bombed.
All
Yeah.
right, we can cut this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Don't
leave it in.
cut
I'm
it.
leaving
Don't
this in.
cut it.
Oh yeah.
So Will
Do you want
Smith,
to just stay in silence and look at him for a second?
I deserve it. All right, so let's move on. So real quick, Will Smith has a movie about concussion where it's like the concussions football players got it. He sues the NFL. I was making a joke, but
you went in depth.
It wasn't picked up on.
Will Smithicus.
Yes. Yeah.
How's your shoulder
That's what
feel
I
from that
should've
reach?
All right, so obviously, what's your thoughts on the "Are you not entertained" scene?
That's awesome. He's
Fantastic.
just pissed
It's
off. He's
fucking
killing dudes
Fantastic.
and yelling at crowd.
Do you think he doesn't like the Gladiator system? Like he's like disgusted about it in a way?
Because why would he be? This is the culture he's lived in his entire life. It's not like he's better than it.
Okay.
You know?
No, this isn't the culture.
He's just like, "Are you not entertained that I did this?"
You're actually completely wrong with that, yeah. Proximo,
Okay.
Proximo specifically, no, not Proximo, Marcus Aurelius specifically says, like in the tent, if you remember, Maximus is saying, like, he's like, "What are you fighting for?" And Maximus is like, "I've seen the march of the world, it's dark, Rome is the light." And he goes, "You've never been there." Maximus has never been near Rome. He doesn't even live in a province, he lives on his own farm.
It's the empire. It's the culture of the
He's
empire.
never been there.
Dude, the gladiators are everywhere.
He knows about it.
They are an integral part of their society.
He knows about it. It doesn't seem like he was part of that world. It doesn't.
Then that's a silly,
it'd be
thing
silly,
to have
but-
in the movie.
But back to his question, I think he did show a level of disgust. He spit on the floor of the Coliseum. What are you disgusted about if you're going to spit
he's
on the floor of the
disgusted
Coliseum?
that he's there. Because
He's disgusting that he has to
insulting
kill.
to him. The fact that he's a gladiator. That would be a low status. The man's a general. He's the upper echelon of society, and now he's been brought this
But then
low.
why
It's
did
like a president showing up and doing WWE.
Yeah.
But he keeps it. But he if that's the case, why didn't he use it and say, "Look, I'm part of the Legion. Look at my tattoo." But instead, he cuts off the Legion tattoo, and then he's like, "Are you not entertained?" He killed 8 people in a row or something like that. He's like, "Are you not entertained?" He throws a sword at the people. He's disgusted by the Gladiator games.
I think that's a fair reading.
Because think about it, Marcus
that's one way
Aurelius.
to look at
Marcus
it.
Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius personally
in
was
this-
not a fan of the game.
Marcus Aurelius in this world canceled the games. Maximus, there's a good chance, grew up without games.
Got no gains.
Got no games.
I have a problem with that.
I'm giving you the world that they're in.
The world that the movie
The world that the movie creates, there's a good chance Maximus did not take place in watching these events at all. He might have been aware about them,
I
but
guess
he didn't
that's
see them.
one way to read it. I personally would not.
Okay.
So anyway, the next scene we get is Commodus making a big entrance, and the man certainly knows how to make an entrance as he enters Rome.
Yeah.
It's very spectacular.
Yeah, he's
right?
like giving himself a triumph.
Yeah.
They're all wearing black garb.
They talk about the plague and how it's fucking shit up.
Yes. Yeah, that's the Antonine Plague. In the Greek Quarter, if I like correctly.
Yes, exactly. And then he wants to fuck his sister so hard. Like, have you ever seen someone Jones for their sister this hard in a movie?
No.
So let's talk about Lucilla, real Lucilla.
Real Lucilla? Well, hold on. I want to talk about sister fucking first.
Okay.
Because
I mean, it goes
Steve,
hand in hand, I
you
guess.
have 3 sisters. So how did
and
you
how many
resist?
of you had sex?
How did you resist the urge?
And you have one sister.
I didn't. I never resisted the
Oh,
urge.
you just gave in. You gave in.
My sister has a child, and everyone says it looks like me. So let that be your hint.
Wow. Our friendship changed in this moment.
Wow. This is like when you go to the Pornhub homepage. It's
Yeah.
it's the most popular thing.
It's always step sibling.
Why
Yeah,
is that?
step siblings.
Are there that many like hot step siblings running around that people are like, I gotta get this urge out?
Are there that
Look,
many
we all know that
step-siblings?
stepsister just means real sister. Like that's the fantasy that they're
Stepfather,
going
no,
for. here.
please.
Why?
I'm stuck.
Why are like people into this? Are you guys into this?
No.
Step
I don't have
Caesar,
any
no.
sisters.
Well, you have a
watch
brother.
Step Brother.
You have a brother.
Well,
Did you
my
ever-
secret's out.
You fucked your brother, right?
Who hasn't? What am I, rude?
How much of this do I have to cut?
None. This all stays in. This is gold. So
Yeah, he
Luc-
definitely wants to have sex with his sister.
Yes, which is not something that really happened in the real Lucilla. She
No.
was married.
She was.
She was also
was
a,
Commodus.
Yeah, she was a conspirator.
Yes. So here's what happened. Here's how the story goes.
This is the real story.
She had a box at the Coliseum. And I don't mean
What's
a
in the
vagina.
box? What's in the box?
She had like a fucking private box at the Coliseum. And Commodus gave it to his wife. And it pissed her the
did he?
fuck off.
You gave away my season tickets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Season tickets.
And she was so mad that she started, because he had been pissing off the senators for a while now. She went to the Senate and got them to fucking form a conspiracy to try and have him killed. And it failed because the guy who tried to kill him yelled out like, I'm going to get you, right before he tried to stab Commodus, and the Praetorians had time to cut him down. But this is kind of like the turning point in his reign where he became a paranoid fuck. And he ended up exiling her and then having her murdered.
I guess when someone tries to kill you, that's going to change your perspective on events.
Sure.
You know?
Especially with your own sister.
And like, that guy's no John Wilkes Booth.
No.
JWB knew to, he shouted his thing and got the job done.
Sic semper tyrannis.
So like, Brian, if I like gave away your Devil season tickets when they were actually good, would you want to murder me?
When was that? It's no point when I had fucking season tickets. I gave away my Devil season tickets this fucking year. I left my rep the most nasty fucking thing I've ever wrote to like another human being.
Yeah.
I'm so
Should
fed
we
up.
get into this?
Yeah,
No.
sure. I'm so fed up with the fucking Devils, dude. I wrote my season ticket
Are they
rep.
bad this year?
They're horrible. And like they've been selling me a false bill of goods for 5 years. I'm not even asking for a playoff team. I'm asking for a competitive team to watch, like a team that will not lose 7-1 every fucking time I go.
7-1?
It's every night is a fucking blowout, dude.
Wow, who even hears of a hockey game with 7 goals or something?
The only one that I could think of was when we went to Rangers versus Devils, and the Devils won like 9-8.
9-8.
It was insane. It was the best hockey game I've ever been to.
Yeah, that was when they were good. Since I've had tickets, I'm a fucking black cloud over this team and their shit. But my
Well,
rep,
why'd you get mad at the rep?
it wasn't him so much. It was like, so
He took out his frustration with this
I
poor
did
guy.
not. I did not know my rep would read the email, so they sent out a cancellation thing, and there's like a button, why are you canceling? So I click it, and they're like, write why you're canceling, and I wrote this fucking diatribe that was like bashing every single fucking thing. It was like I took a shit on the floor as I left the room practically. Like I was like, I'm sick of watching the equivalent of prison rape every night on the ice. Like I wrote shit, and I honestly didn't think anybody would read it. And I got a call.
You were secretly hoping that this would get to someone and they like put it somewhere. You wanted to be a
That's
celebrity.
hanging up in someone's
You wanted
office.
to be a celebrity.
That's hanging up
I
somewhere.
I wanted someone up high to read it, but I feel like when you fill out these things, no one actually reads them. I got a call from my rep the next day, and he's like,
You okay?
and I knew he canceled. He's like, Brian, so do you really feel like the team should relocate? And I was like, I'm so fucking angry and disenfranchised that if they moved, it would put me out of my misery at this point.
It's gonna be great when that reaches some higher up and like they fix what has been happening, all the problems.
They can't fix
and they're
it.
gonna be like a great team in like 2 months.
What Brian doesn't know is that everyone in the organization now, when they do changes and they like make decisions, they all go, "We're doing this for Brian."
Yeah.
This is for Brian. And like in the locker room, like before they go on the ice, they go for Brian. And they
Well,
take
now that I don't have season tickets, it is almost a guarantee that next year they're going to be one of the best teams and make the playoffs. There is not a doubt in my mind the Devils are making the playoffs next year because I don't have season tickets. All right. Anyway, so Commodus got rid of her season tickets.
Yes. And then exiled her to some shitty island in the Mediterranean. And after like people forgot about her, he just had her killed. So she
Okay.
was
As
done.
one does.
So he pretended like it was an act of mercy and then did her in.
Right.
So Marcus Aurelius had ended the games, as we know. Digimon Hansu, we're introduced to him a bit more.
Digimon Hansu champion.
Maximus is sleep creeping on Lucius.
No, not
kid.
Not Maximus.
Not Maximus, I'm sorry, Commodus.
Commodus is sneaking around and looking at his nephew.
So some people think that Commodus is a pedophile for doing this. I don't take it that way.
He is known for doing shit like that, like fucking, like having weird, crazy orgies, and he had his gay lover like run the empire for a little while.
Really?
While he just did debaucherous shit.
Really? Commodus had a gay lover who
He
ran
had
the Empire?
multiple. He had like he was fucking everyone and everything.
What a gay Chad.
Yeah.
The Chad Commodus.
Now, are we talking about him being like having pedophile tendencies in the movie or in real life?
in the movie, like some people think that he's like a pedophile preying on Lucius.
I don't think so.
I always saw it as him debating about killing him every time because he's his heir. He wants to get rid of him.
I thought it was a threat thing to
Yeah.
Lucille.
That was my
Lucilla.
read of it.
I keep calling her Lucy.
Well, he then uses him. He uses him as leverage to.
Babaloo, Commodus, where?
God.
So
I was trying to think of one myself. You just pulled it off.
yeah, thank you. She's making the grapes, stepping on him, fighting with some slave.
Speed it up, oh.
So we get a historical remake in a historical remake.
Yes, we do. We get the
Historical
Battle of Zama.
inception.
Scipio versus the Carthaginians.
Scipio?
Scipio Africanus.
His name is Scipio.
That is the Roman general at the Battle of Zama, yes.
So there's General Skippy.
Yeah.
It's
Why are you
it's
so
such
happy about
it's like
this?
such a weird nickname, like Skippy.
It's his real name. It's the Scipii. That's his family. They're one of the major, aristocratic families of Rome.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Anyway, so unlike in history, this time the Carthaginians won.
Win, yeah. Hannibal.
Yeah. And where is Carthage exactly?
Carthage is modern-day Tunisia,
Okay.
North Africa.
So the Carthaginians are black?
No, they were Carthage was a Phoenician colony.
Okay.
Which is like Phoenicia was like modern-day Israel.
Kind of like
that area.
Arabic?
Not so much Arabic. They look like Italians.
Okay.
And then they had colonies all over the Mediterranean. When Phoenicia fell, Carthage was still around, and it became bigger than all the other. The colony outgrew the home base, much like the United States.
I mean, we just skipped over a lot in the film.
Did we? Yeah, I guess we did.
Battle of Carthage.
This is. Yeah, it's that when they have the chariots.
The first time you're in the Colosseum. It's the first time they're in Rome.
Yeah.
Is it?
yeah.
Yeah, this is
like
a massive scene.
When they arrive in Rome, people they know Maximus already.
Yeah,
I
he's
hate
famous.
that. I hate
Well,
that.
I guess
he's
the
famous in the
word has
province.
spread about
what
this.
word?
So okay, this is the one thing why we mentioned before that certain gladiators were like celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
This guy in the province just killed like 6 or 7 guys by himself. He's famous now, and he's about to fight in the Colosseum.
And I think probably some people have figured out who he is.
He's the general,
Right.
Yeah. They know he is.
So, I guess that story has gotten to Rome.
Well, there's also a gladiator who says, "I fought with you at Bend of Honor."
Yeah, they know him.
Yeah. He's known. He gets there, and he kind of commands the gladiators as he would his army.
Right, and
win.
they respect him,
They
and they
respect
love him.
him.
Yeah.
They win. And this is the scene that we wanted to talk about because this is one of the silly things.
Yeah.
And this is why I didn't want to skip over this.
Okay.
The crossbow.
The automatic crossbow.
The automatic crossbow. The 4-shot crossbow.
It with rotating.
Where he's just making this like
barrel.
Now, if you look at it, it's 4 crossbows like glued together.
Yeah.
And you just twist it and you shoot each one
It seems like
separately.
it's something that could exist.
It could exist, and I think it did.
Really?
I think it did. Not the 4-shot. The 4-shot's ridiculous. That didn't exist. But they had a double one with 2 sections of a bow. So you pull back 2 things, pull one trigger, it shoots one, pull the trigger, put the other.
Right.
But it wasn't parallel to each other. It wasn't a section. It was parallel. So it's possible, especially around this time. This is towards, like you said, the army was changing, engineering was changing. It's definitely possible that could have existed.
I guess, yeah. If it is a fictional weapon, it's a fictional weapon that is based on some sort of realism.
Right. It's not out of the realm of possibility, definitely.
Right.
Which I loved.
Did you find it? I see.
I loved
you have
it.
some screenshot.
I loved it so much.
Okay.
I wrote nice helmet. He has a wonderful helmet, right?
This is the one with it's got some spikes on it.
Where,
Right?
yeah, he's like, my name is Gladiator.
That is the best helmet in the movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's awesome looking. Yeah, this may be my favorite scene. Just this whole fight is so
amazing.
fucking cool.
It's amazing.
There are some goofs here.
No tigers. Is this the one with the tigers?
No,
that's later.
Fair enough.
Later.
So there's some goofs here. If you look, you will see a gas tank on the back of a chariot that falls over.
There's also a woman fighting.
Yes, there
which
is a woman.
seems, I don't know. I don't
Unrealistic.
think that happened.
Unrealistic.
Yeah.
The only way I could have seen that happened is if it was like a cannon fodder situation and they're just throwing someone to, get brutalized.
If that was going to happen, I guess in the Gladiator gladiatorial pit is where it would happen. You know.
Yes.
This is also a crazy time in the Empire, especially.
Like nobody
in this
likes
story.
the WNBA. They don't want to see them in the fucking Coliseum either. You know, it's not a crowd pleaser.
Well, this is a crazy time in the Empire. You know, who knows?
Brian's laughing.
I really enjoyed that joke. That tickled my sports fan bone. So I have a question. Why are you always a Caesar?
Why am I always?
Not you personally, but like when you're a king, it's like you're the new Caesar. Like,
because Rome is everything. Rome is the, like, you mean in the medieval period.
but they
the
just
Kaiser,
like,
whatever.
they call him the Caesar.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what?
that's like saying king.
Caesar is the title. Like
Yeah.
he
It's like
was
saying
so
king.
great that we are all trying to live up to Julius Caesar.
So it'd be like if we just called every president the Washington.
It's also like Augustus, you know, going back to the late Republic. Caesar was murdered, and then Octavian took his name as his adopted son and used that for everything. And the reign of Commodus is kind of the reign of Commodus is when the Senate is finally put to bed. Like, the way Augustus transformed the Republic into an empire is kind of by appropriating all the different government offices and putting them on himself. But he still portrayed himself as the first citizen. He's not the king, he's not the emperor, but he's the first citizen among the rest of the people. And the Senate still has their say in things. Now, over time, that authority that they had would be eroded and eroded and eroded. And Commodus is the guy who finally turns around and says, enough of that bullshit. The Senate is useless. They're a men's club. I don't care what they have to say about anything. I'm the real authority. I'm the state. You guys are fucked. And we see that in the scene. I think we skipped over it.
Yeah,
where he kind of just abuses them. He's sitting in the room with them, and they're trying to tell him stuff, and he's like, "Fuck you."
So is he the first true like dictator?
Yeah, he's like the first one where it's all the pretension is gone. The curtain, like, mask is off. I'm in charge.
Okay.
You know, and everyone going forward is kind of where Rome, the Roman emperors are less this citizen hero and more a banana republic dictator.
Okay.
You know,
And Caesar is just it's just a title.
it has become a title.
Okay, because that has always been a little confusing to me.
And going forward, when like you have czars and kaisers and like the title still exists, Holy Roman Emperor, it's all people trying to capture the prestige that Rome holds. You know, because we look at that as the peak of civil in the West anyway. As like, this is civilization and this is authority and this is what I'm trying to portray myself as.
Okay.
As an emperor.
So then we get to the fight. The battles happen. The chariot body is cut in half and it's gnarly.
Awesome.
Then obviously the battle ends. They win. Russell Crowe delivers the awesome speech. Father to a murder.
Oh, yes.
My name is Gladiator.
He wants to meet him.
Well, he comes down.
He comes down because he wants to meet him and see who he is.
Right.
And that's when it's like, oh crap,
big reveal.
he's alive.
And I love the way the Praetorians kind of surround him, and like it's like you're not doing shit, else you're dead.
But then the crowd's like, no, you gotta let him live.
Yes.
And he's trying to win the hearts and minds of the people, and he has no choice, and that puts him in a horrible predicament.
Right.
He should have just killed him there, realistically, but.
Commodus is we skipped over this too. Like his whole thing is he had 150 days of games in the movie. And that is all just to introduce himself to the public. The public now he wants them to love him.
Yeah.
The whole point of this is so that they like him.
I brought the games back. I brought the NFL back.
Right.
And the Senate knows
love
that.
me. And if he pisses them off, it's bad for his reign going forward. So
The Senate knew it too. They say it's the blood of the Coliseum. It's the sands of the Coliseum. That's how you win the hearts and minds of the people.
Right.
They're a mob.
So after this, we see them. They're playing like a game with cobras. That's very Jackass style, you know.
Yeah.
Try not to get stung by the cobras.
The gladiators are tossing like these beads to try to get past this cobra, and it's
don't
like
even
trying
remember
to.
this.
It's such a quick scene.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't even brought it up because it's like a 2-second thing, and they're going oh, and the cobra's trying to bite them, and
it's like
really
Roman
like
Jackass, and they're laughing about it.
They're laughing, and it's like oh, we might die, and like it's silly.
The poison joke is very good.
poison joke.
So with
Yes.
the food, when Russell Crowe gets the food, and Hagen stops him, and he takes the food and he eats it and pretends to choke.
Yes.
And then
laugh.
Of course, he has an amazing line, Juby.
What's his line?
He says, "You have a great name. You have to kill your name before he kills you."
What is his name?
Strong. Maximus.
Oh, big.
Yeah, he's like, because now he's known. Like all of Rome knows Maximus now.
Right.
And it's like, that's a good name. You got to kind of, he's telling him to stop being so in the open about this and take care of business.
So Joaquin is being like Vince McMahon, like he's setting like
Very showman-y.
he's showman, like he's put in Spaniard.
He has an ass-kissing man.
Yeah, you're fired. But like so,
I'll take a dollar.
Porn swallow.
so Russell Crowe is fighting the big guy in the cage, like the undefeated former champ.
Oh yeah, they brought back the Gaul.
But he keeps bringing out new stipulations to try to fuck Russell Crowe, and it's very Vince McMahon WWE. Like suddenly there's tigers around and shit, which those are real tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like they were really on chains, and like that must have been terrifying to film.
Ridley Scott, you maniac.
And also, this is a little
just didn't
thing.
care.
The guy he's fighting is in Mallrats. He is, the security guard that they fight.
That's him?
That's LaForce, yes.
The chocolate-covered pretzel guy.
No, chocolate covered pretzel guy is Michael Roker. He's the guy with the hat who's chasing them around.
Yeah.
That's the guy Russell Crowe is fighting in that scene.
Oh,
Who has probably a better helmet than anyone else in the film at this
He's got
point.
the face helmet.
He has the face that's being eaten by a lion.
Yes.
It's so cool.
That is cool.
And it has tears coming
That is
down.
cool.
It's like, oh,
He's a
that's
scary
so
man.
badass. Also, no peripheral vision. No, none at
Very
all.
reminiscent of, again, I'm going to bring up Rome again because it's the best show ever. The scene where Varenus is in the arena and he has to fight that giant guy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So Russell Crowe spares him. Maximus spares him. He does not kill this
Against the,
guy.
will, against the will of the emperor and the
Yes.
people.
Yes. And then Joaquin
Just because.
Just to stand up against. If he would have said like, yeah, he could let him
would
live, he
kill
would
him.
have dropped that ass.
Yeah.
He was going to defy them whatever they said.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
He was like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. He was straight raging against
Raging
me.
against
It's not mercy. It's spite.
Yes. Which I'm sure the dude on the bottom did not mind.
And can we talk about the one guy who was the same guy who was in the province, who was in the Colosseum, that when everything gets quiet, he just yells.
Yes.
he's
And
throughout
everyone
the whole-
listens to him. That guy feels great. He goes
the
home
man.
and night, tells his wife, you know what I fucking did today.
Maximus, merciful. And everyone's just like, ah.
It's like getting a slow
And then-
clap going.
in
It's
the
like
province-
starting the wave at a baseball game.
In the province, he goes, Spaniard, and everyone starts chanting with him. And they go, but it's the same voice. It's the same guy.
He's his biggest fan.
Yeah.
He's a Spaniard fan. He has like a Maximus tattoo on his pec and shit.
Do you remember when we used to go see Porcupine Tree a lot?
Yes.
Porcupine Tree is a band that we love.
One of our favorite bands.
Whenever they would play, I would go and I'd scream. Whenever it got quiet, I'd just scream "Up the Down," which is one of their songs that
Up
I
the
love.
Down
And they never
Stair.
played it, and I always thought, because we saw them a lot. We saw them like 10 times, and I saw them in different parts of the world. We went to France and saw them, and I would just scream. I would get up close and I'd scream at it. He had to hear me, and I'd just be like, "This guy knows me."
Yeah.
I imagine that's how that guy felt. And then
yeah.
eventually they played it, and
was
I was
the-
like, "It's cause of me."
It was. I actually agree with you that it was because of you, and it was the last show they did in the New York area.
Yes, it is.
And I am convinced they did that just for you, because like this guy
take
has
it.
been
I'll take
coming,
it.
like seeing us
A
for
decade,
years.
yeah.
Like let's give him the song.
We saw them in New York like a week or two before we went to France. And you yelled, Steve, I came from New York, up the down. There is no way in his brain he had to be like, is this guy for real?
Anyway, so we get the speech from Russell Crowe where Joaquin Phoenix is like, your wife moans like a whore and like all this shit.
As they ravaged her again and again.
We get some coup talks between Lucilla and
Yes. Yeah, they'd start the senator guy.
yes.
I didn't catch his name in the movie. I wonder if it's the same dude who, like in real life, who did conspire with her.
I don't believe it is.
Okay, well,
At this point, the the plot is kind of ramping up, right?
Yeah, we're hurtling
Things are
towards the
happening.
end.
Yeah, they're trying to get. They got Proximo involved. They got the slaves involved. Everyone is now involved.
The whole movie from this point on is like Commodus trying to fix it so that he dies, so that Maximus dies
in a way that's not bad.
And Maximus
though.
just keeps fighting. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's what happens, and then it all ramps up to when he gets in the ring with him. Like it spirals to the final scene. They have this little plot where he's going to be bought. Oh, is he? How are they going to free him? Just remind me.
Who? Maximus?
Because the plot was he's going to meet up with his army at Ostia, which is the port.
His follower, I forgot his name.
The actor's name is Tommy Flanagan.
The guy with the scar on his mouth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't he also in Braveheart?
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I claim the right of a husband.
Yes. So he's playing a character named Cicero.
Cicero,
Yes,
yes,
right.
correct. Named after the orator.
Well, they're trying to get a coup going.
Yeah.
So they want to get Maximus to his army and march on the city.
Cicero plants a couple of horses for him to get back to where the army is camped. And Commodus finds out about this through the little shit nephew.
Oh, he mouths off, right?
He doesn't mouth off. He's playing with swords. And he goes,
Savior of Rome.
He goes, yeah. What are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm a gladiator. He's like, you're a gladiator. You don't want to be a legionnaire. He's like, no, Maximus, the savior of Rome. And he's like, who the fuck said that? And he was like, my mom. And he's just like, you mother. What?
I'm a busy bee this shit.
Now I gotta fucking try to kill this kid. And then you see the true evil of Commodus. Like,
He's had it.
He's had it, and he holds the kid hostage to rape his mother, who is his sister at this. To have an heir of pure blood to reign for 1,000 years was the line.
Would you say it's implied that he did rape her?
It was not implied that he raped her yet. He was going to, but he wants to kill Maximus first because that's the most important thing.
Yeah, the sister is the reward after killing Maximus.
Exactly.
After a long, hard day's work.
Yeah.
So he
He
kills
gets
Maximus
just
while she watches and then goes and rapes her.
That's his plan.
That's his plan, yeah.
Obviously, the coup fails. Crowe gets captured.
Oh, they stomp it out and
They kill
they
Cicero.
storm like
They kill Cicero.
I guess it's like the Colosseum where they keep the gladiators and like they fight off a bunch
It's
of
Proximo's
soldiers.
land.
Right.
That's what they storm.
And Proximo gets killed.
Proximo gets killed, which actually that scene when he says shadows and dust, if you pay attention, I remember it a little hazy, but it's not the same scene where he's standing in that room. It's a cut from a different scene because he died at that time.
Right. Yeah, he died while they were making the movie.
Yeah.
You could see the facial replacement if you look closely.
Yeah, they use CGI graphics to replace his face on other actors.
This is right around the same time they replaced Livia on The Sopranos, right? That whole thing where they just show the back of her head for a couple of episodes.
Yeah. I'll say Gladiator did it way better. But yeah, I think it still holds up, truthfully. I think when you're watching it, you don't realize it's CG.
At no point in this movie does it feel like it's very dated.
Even
though it is 22 years old.
It also moves very quickly.
Yes.
Yes, it's a fast movie.
So anyway, let's wrap this up. Joaquin Phoenix comes down, goes, "Smile for me now, brother." Stabs
him.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
They fight. Russell Crowe ends up killing him.
But dying from his wounds.
There's a great moment. So they're in the arena and they're surrounded by the Praetorians, and he kind of orders them to kill him.
No, he says, "Give me a sword."
Right, and Quintus makes that decision.
He's like, "Nope, sheathe
and
your
once
swords."
that's done, there's no way out of this for Commodus.
For either of them.
Because
or Maximus.
If Commodus is allowed to leave the arena at that point, everyone dies.
Yes.
So no one is going to let that happen.
Nope. But he also can't let Maximus leave.
He's like, honor has to be fulfilled here.
Right.
Honor's getting fulfilled, and I'm killing both these assholes because I'm done with this. That's what Quintus decides.
Right.
So they fight. Obviously, Russell Crowe ends up winning. The day is saved.
And all the slaves are freed.
And all the slaves are free. Digimon Hansu, picks up the dust, kind of thanking him.
No, he buries,
buries
his
the-
prayer.
yes.
I guess
The trinket thing.
wooden carved things. Yeah. And he buries them in his blood and says, "Yeah, now we are free, and I'll see you in the next life." And then it ends, and probably top 10 movies of all time, if not top 5.
So let's talk about how Commodus really died.
How he really died. He was strangled in the bath by his wrestling partner.
By a
Narcissus.
wrestling partner, yes.
It would be a wrestler.
So if you were going to be strangled to death by a wrestler, who would you want?
This is all a conspiracy with the Senate and like people.
Real wrestler or like WWE?
I'm
WWF?
thinking like a WWF wrestler is like
Kane.
strangling you.
Kane. I want Kane to take me out.
I don't know who that is. I don't know wrestling.
He was
I know is Hornswoggle.
He was a big guy who was like, he wanted to be the Undertaker but couldn't, so they gave him a mask, and he wore like flame suits.
He's now the mayor of like Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it so many wrestlers would go into politics?
I guess you're a showman
They're actors,
already,
like
you
Jesse
know.
Ventura.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
used to lying.
So you want to be strangled to death by Hornswoggle?
Yeah.
Not like The Rock or like
I want
Stone Cold.
I want Hornswoggle.
So you want a midget wrestler?
Yes, an Irish one.
So a leprechaun strangles you to death.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that guy.
Yeah,
Is he
yeah.
from the 90s?
Yeah, he's from
Yeah. Okay.
I think I would pick like Hulk Hogan, you know? Like,
So you want a racist?
oh, I forgot about that. I can't have a racist killing me.
Right.
No, you can't do that.
The Rock. Everyone likes The Rock, right?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson? He's a celebrity.
He was a wrestler.
Moana.
He is the highest paid male celebrity on earth.
Is he really?
Yes, he is. You wouldn't know
Who's
that.
number 2?
I couldn't tell you, but I would
you
assume
pulled
like,
number 1 right out of your
I would
ass. You knew that one right off the bat.
Who cares about second place? Nobody cares about Texas.
I thought you had the top 10 list.
I did it.
He has it memorized. Like as he's sleeping at night, he's like Rock Johnson,
Rock.
Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He's just memorizing.
You know,
them.
it's probably one of them or like Johnny Depp, something like that.
They're actually making there's 2 things about a sequel to this. One, Nick Cave was originally going to make a sequel to this.
Nick Cave. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, real quick. Dead Can Dance soundtrack. Killer. Host of the Seraphim. Amazing. Did you know that?
What?
Dead Can Dance is the soundtrack of
I
Gladiator.
had no clue. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I do like the
That-
soundtrack
that
a lot.
whole-
It's incredible.
That's Dead Can Dance.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's cool. So, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, he wanted to do a Gladiator 2, and this was his concept. Maximus gets reincarnated
Oh, God.
into different warriors throughout time, fighting in different historical events.
This has nothing to do with Gladiator. Then.
No, so it's like Russell Crowe wakes up and he's like, he was Maximus and now he's like in Nam. And then he
What?
dies. Yeah, and then he dies and goes to like, World War II. And like he fights in different conflicts throughout the ages.
That sounds like the plot of this podcast.
Kind of, yeah. But that was the original Gladiator 2. And now they are actually starting production on a Gladiator 2. Ridley Scott is back and there's no other details.
How old is he?
Ridley Scott, he's got to be almost 80.
how could you
So this
really
isn't getting made.
How could you?
No,
yeah.
it's in the this is happening like right now.
How
So
can
what
you
are they-
make a second one?
So what are they gonna
He
do?
died.
Well, they'd have to go historically.
Is it like the Matrix?
It's going to have none of the same characters. They got to have the Year of the 5 Emperors, which is coming up.
Yeah, this is the start
guess.
of almost the Year of the 5 Emperors.
You know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like Spartacus: Blood on the Sand. You ever see that?
That was that show on
That was
Showtime.
a show. It was just crap.
Yeah, it
Just
was very
garbage show.
300 influence. I
Yeah,
hated 300.
It's going to be that. It's going to be that. You didn't like 300, the original?
Hate it.
Was it just too many abs for you?
It's too comic booky and
Way
like
too much oil?
I went and thought I was going to see like a historical epic, and it ended up being like a
Schlock?
Marvel movie. Yeah,
Just too many abs,
I
right?
do love 300 Spartans from the 60s. Though. That's a great movie.
Okay, so anybody have any final thoughts they want to say on Gladiator?
It's not my favorite movie ever. Like you said, as a top 10. I don't think it's a
I
top
might
10
put it on
for
top
me.
5, bro.
But it is great. It's always a fun watch, and I have nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, I made my thoughts clear there. I holds up to that. Till this day, it holds up.
I love this movie. Always have. Always will. One of my favorites. Perennial, viewing whenever I get the chance to see it. Glad I got to revisit on this podcast with you guys. So let's wrap up. Do you want to plug anything, guys? No.
You know we don't want anyone to know who we are.
I know. But I feel like it's weird if I don't ask and then I just start plugging.
We should plug.
We should make a Facebook or something.
We're gonna
we should
have
plug ourselves.
We're gonna have an email address.
Sexually.
I need to set that up.
Yeah, we'll make a page and you can follow the show. How
Yeah.
about that? That'd be great.
What's going on?
For that.
Let's thank
We
the
should
Tell 'em
probably
Steve
thank them.
gave guys.
Yes, thanks to Tell 'em Steve Dave. We are live from the, we're not live, but we are recording at the General Store, thanks to the generosity of Walt Flanagan.
Probably should have opened with that.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Well, you know what? I like that. We should end every episode with a nice thank you for the fellas.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So thanks to Walt. Tell him Steve Dave, get him for hooking us up. I'm Brian Rupert. You can follow me on Twitter at Brian Rupert. That's with 2 P's. You could follow me on Letterboxd, which is what I recommend. That's the social media I use the most, where I review every single movie I watch and every movie for this show. I rank them in a nice little list, so you could see what I liked most and least. And that's really it for this episode of the show. Thank you all for tuning in if you made it this far.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time when we're back with the Charlton Heston classic, Khartoum.
Yeah.
Yeah.